Time now for Prince Harry's biographer Angela Levin. And the Duke's latest Netflix documentary, The Heart of Invictus, dropped this morning, highlighting the crucial help that his Invictus Games events offer to injured war heroes. Or at least that's what we expected. But true to form, the Duke of Division couldn't resist a dig at his family and their apparent lack of support.
My tour of Afghanistan in 2012, flying Apaches, somewhere after that, there was an unravelling. And the trigger to me was actually returning from Afghanistan, but the stuff that was coming up was from 1997, from the age of 12. The biggest struggle for me was the people, no one around me really could help. I didn't have that support structure, that network, or that expert advice to identify what was actually going on with me. Unfortunately, like most of us, the first time you really consider therapy is when you're lying on the floor in the fetal position, probably wishing that you dealt with some of this stuff previously.
And Harry's obsession with bashing the British press shows no sign of slowing either, as he used his charity's Netflix platform to berate them again.
I was there for the 10 weeks. No one knew, apart from British press, that had all said, oh, we'll keep quiet as long as we get access.
British military officials announced Friday they're pulling the prince from the combat zone after word of his deployment was leaked.
To suddenly be on the way home, I was angry. My own experience in Afghanistan was really affected by that flight home. And as we took off, the curtain in front of me blew open, and all you could see was the air hospital. 3 young British soldiers, all wrapped in plastic, and their bodies in pieces. Stepping foot off the plane, I was angry that this has happened to these guys. I was angry that the media weren't covering it.
What is he talking about? What is he talking about? I mean, who could forget this iconic 2009 front page by The Sun? Don't you know there's a bloody war on? A message to Tony Blair, picturing all of the war dead. So, Angela Levin, look, so many outrageous grudges yet again on the show, and I fear that it may have overshadowed the very worthy point of the programme.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, he was also very different from what he's been before, where he was really right in it, talking to them, boosting them. This way, most of it was on Zoom, and he was very supercilious. It was me, you know, he was very looking down on them. But I've had loads of communication from people saying he's ruining it because it's all about him. And I don't think it was the most appropriate time to talk about how he was, because these poor people would come back with, you know, their limbs torn to pieces and terrible mental health issues. And they had no one. There were pictures of them living in a bedroom with nothing except a bed. And there's Harry with his 16 bathrooms, sort of swanning about how difficult it was. He told lots of lies. In my biography, he told me loads of things about how the people looked after him. William, his father, he had 2 sort of nanny friend types, one male, one female. He had protection officers. He had all sorts of people looking after him and boosted him and really cared for him. He wasn't allowed to do anything dangerous either because he had about 8 of them around him all the time. Well, so he's actually talking about nonsense. The other thing that's really important is that he's blaming his father and his brother for not being experts about mental health. What they did do was cuddle him, was looking after him. There's a lovely picture of Charles holding his hand.
And also, when it comes to William, I actually want to play you a clip from a podcast in 2017 where Harry did praise his brother. I'll get you to react off the
He told me too.
Then even when a loved one or someone really close to you comes up to you and says, look, I think you need to deal with this. It's all about timing. Yeah. And, you know, for me personally, you know, my brother, you know, bless him, he was a huge support to me and kept saying, you know, this is not right, this is not normal, you need to talk about stuff, it's okay, and all this. And the timing wasn't right.
You need to feel it in yourself,
You need to feel it in yourself, you need to find the right person to talk to as well.
So he's literally there praising. And you say he told you the
yes,
same thing?
Yes, he told me that William was wonderful, and he kept telling him he needed the help. And he used to say, but what can you do? You don't listen to your older brother. You want to decide things for yourself. And I didn't want to do anything until the time was right. I wanted to forget her. I wanted to bury my head in the sand, because that way I could forget about her, because I knew I couldn't bring her back. So he wasn't blaming anybody else. He didn't want to take it. So if you're an alcoholic, the only way you can help alcoholics if they want to stop drinking. And he didn't want help, so it was very difficult to do it. But during the memorial service, when Diana died, his father held him in his arms all the way through, a big 12-year-old, you know, because he wanted to protect him. Now, he might not have known how to give him the A to Z in a book about mental health, but that is as warming as anything else, actually, to be there with you. There were no cameras allowed.
How can you prepare for that sort of thing? Look, I think it's a great shame, because clearly the Invictus Game's a really good thing, but Harry, yet again, has made it.
Well, he had to talk about himself, which is very upsetting. I found it very upsetting.
Angela Levin, Prince Harry's biographer, will speak next week. Thank you so much, Angela.